Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the part 3 of our HTML level 2 training. In this training today, we are going to be looking at form basics. Now, creating forms in HTML revolves around the tag, the input tag. Whenever we are creating form in HTML, we always call the keyword input. Are we together? Now, we will look at various types of input for forms and how we can use them to accept user input. So I believe almost all of us, if not all of us, are on Facebook. And when you were creating your Facebook account, I believe you were asked to enter some information, some details about yourself, right? Now, that form where that location where you imputed your details is called a form, and that is what we are going to be creating now. Are we together? Yes. So without wasting much of our time, let me go straight to our code editor. I have my Visual Studio Code set up already. This is our browser. Alright, so I've created another file called form.html. so I believe you know how to create a file now. So create another file called form.html. Now whenever we are making use of form, we need to let HTML know that we are dealing with form. And for us to do that, we are going to declare form. We say form, right? If you notice, as soon as I close the body, the opening tag, it automatically add the closing tag for the form, right? So now this is where our form is going to be situated. We have the form, the opening tag, we have the form, the closing tag. Are we together? Yes. So now the next thing, let me have my h1. Okay, let me just say h2 because I want to print out some stuff here. I'll say working on forms, right? So the next thing that I do now is what I said. Whenever we're making use of forms, we make use of the input tag. So I'm going to be calling the input tag. I'll say input. Right now, once I close it now, if you notice, it's not having the closing tag for the input because the input is a self-closing tag, just like our image tag. You know, the image tag is a self-closing tag as well. So the input tag is a self-closing tag, meaning that we don't need to do something like this. We don't need to say we don't need to say okay, we are closing the input like this. This is wrong because the input is a self-closing tag. Hope is clear. I believe so. So now inside the input, the next thing that we're going to be doing now, we're going to add the type. What type of data are we planning to showcase? Are we together? So I want to show text. Maybe I just want the user to enter his full name. Then I will add the value. I'll say value and let the value be what? Full name. Alright, I save. I'll come over here now to refresh. Is it working on forms? Which is this? Can you see our form? Is taking shape already. So we have input. You are telling the form that you want to make use of this particular form. Whenever you are creating form, you must call the keyword input. Then you specify the type. Now the type lets HTML knows the kind of data that should be entered into the form. That is why we say type text, and the value is what? Full name. Whenever you're what will be here is your full name. Say I have my full name as what? The prof, right? And so on. Now I want to create another form. Let me add something else. Let me say this time around, let me have email, the name. Okay, I'm going to be removing this for now because I don't want some of us to be confused with this. But when we get to CSS proper JavaScript, when we get to CSS, we are going to be making use of this ID and the name also. But for the sake of to avoid confusion now, for some of us, I'm going to be removing that. So let me have email. Alright, let me add another one called password. Another input. I will call it password. The type we specified as what? Password. Password. And the value, let the value be, okay, let's say my password. My password. Right? Okay, we have this, right? Now, you know every form has a submit button. So let me call our submit button. We have our input. We say type. The type is going to be what? Submit. Submit. Huh? And the value we are going to have register. Right? I close this, I save, and I refresh. Alright, so we have our 3 forms now. You notice we created 3 inputs with a submit button. We have the 3 inputs with a submit button. Now I want you to understand something here. If you noticed, we called input parallel, right? But the type varies. If it is an email you are planning to create, so you must specify the type as email. You know why? I'm going to be explaining that shortly. And if it is a password, you are going to be specifying the type as what? As password. Now, as soon as you specify the type as submit, HTML automatically knows that you are talking about a button. So this submit means you need a button, and whatever you have as a value, that is what will be displayed outside. That is why when we have full name here in this type text, when we have full name, if you notice what we have here too is what? Is full name. When we have email here, what do we have here too? Email. So now that we have registered in the button, that's what we have registered. Let's say now I want to change this now to send. Let me say send. To change this now to send, I save the button, I refresh. You see, automatically the button has changed also to send. So whatever it is that is in the that is in the value, that is exactly what will be displayed. Hope that is clear. Yes. Now, the difference between this text, email, and password. Let me explain that next. Okay. Watch now. If I should hit send, can you see? This is the email. It's saying please include an @ You know, normally your email is supposed to contain, let's say, okay, my name now, the prof, okay, the prof082@gmail.com or at ogtechnetworks.com. The word that numeric, sorry, not numeric, that special key, that special key is called @ is needed whenever we're dealing with email, right? So now, as soon as you specify the type to be email, the browser will recognize that you are talking about email. So any user that tries to fill up the email without actually adding that special keys called @ the browser will pop up this error message that please include an @ in the email. That means our form is interactive, is responsive, and the reason for this is what? By the time you specify some informations, okay, maybe I will leave that when we are coming up in terms of this form, but I hope you get that now. That is for the email. Now when we talk about the password here, you discover that as soon as you say password, you know, normally whenever you are typing your password, it's okay, I'm typing my password, everything is supposed to be hidden, right? So because we specified the type password, so the browser will recognize that the password is not supposed to be displayed. This is not supposed to be exposed, so everything will be hidden. Why the text, anything text, meaning that this is what you want people to see, blah 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 and stuff like that. Is it working? It's working. Now once I hit send now, it's going to complain that I have not included an @ Now let me include an @ at anything.com, right? Then I send, bam, everything works. For now the form is not correctly doing anything for now, so this is just the basics. because you need to understand these basics before you can begin to to do more complicated stuff. Hope it's clear. Alright, so for the sake of time, see you in the next clip.